Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review YouTube channel, where tonight it is press conference reaction live with myself and my good old horseman buddy, Peter Proudlock. How are you doing, Pete?
Yes, I'm very well, thanks. And yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Good,
may as well get straight into it, Peter. I mean, he's come out with the usual crap, hasn't he? We know he's quite prone to coming out with the same old bullshit every press conference, and it looks like he's just done the same here, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, it's copy and paste every single time in it. I mean, not to mention he's just come out with the day that he's admitted now he's not good enough for the job. Have you only just realised that from today? And not from the God past knows how many games we've been playing all season.
Yeah, I actually found that astounding when I read it on Twitter, because I don't listen to him live when he's doing his press conferences because it just pisses me off. I can't stand watching the bloke for a start, so I don't tend to watch. But I was more bothered about some of the stuff he came out with again. I mean, I mean, Chippers has commented here, so fucked off yet again with Bruce today. Mind, if he wants what is best for the club, he resigns and doesn't give a fuck after a payoff, which he's right, because if he did care about the club, he would have been long gone, surely.
Exactly, yes. It just shows he's not a true supporter of the football club. He's not a proper manager. If he is what it is, it looks like he's asking for the site. All he wants is just a payoff from Mike Ashley. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Brian saying there he got his first dose of the vaccine now, so well done. It knocks you for 24 hours, and I've had a sore weak arm, body felt like shit, sore all over, chill sweats, but now okay. I was ill for 2 days, Brian, so I can feel for you, mate. I know how you're feeling right now. It does diminish. So also, sister said Chelsea could win another Champions League title. I mean, it's double after that draw. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are writing Chelsea off at the peril, I'm telling you, because this manager Tuchel's got them playing.
He really has.
Yep. Good evening, David. Hope you're well. Jamie says all prayer Leeds beat Fulham tonight. Yeah, I mean, that is we're all Fulham fans tonight. We're all Leeds fans tonight, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, we are. I've seen the lineups. Fulham good strong, Leeds are good strong. There's no Rodrigo, unfortunately, for Leeds tonight, but Bamford is playing and starting.
I think that's a bonus for us that Bamford is playing, because we know that he can pop up with a goal here and there. He's been playing quite well this season, so fingers crossed Bamford performs and
puts one in the back of the net.
Well, puts a few in. We could do with Leeds absolutely trouncing them to get some sort of goal difference back, I think. Good evening, Martin. Hope you're well. Evening, Stephen. And Martin said, good evening, PDP. And Truth Tell says, is that a Man United shirt? Of course it's not a Man United shirt. It's Bayer Leverkusen. Just one of my collection of shirts that I have. Manchester United. Dear God, I'd rather burn. So no, it's not a Man United shirt. Don't worry. Ryan, good evening, mate. I'm surprised Bruce hasn't said we need to box clever box. That's my favourite line. Yeah, I mean, box clever box he's come out with a few times.
God,
I have got some little trinkets of what he said, so we'll just go through them. This one first of all, Keith Downey. Steve Bruce asked whether he could be sacked if Newcastle drop into the bottom three, and Bruce came out with, the decision will always be taken out of my hands. I only want what is best for the club, and over the last few months I've not been good enough to get the results the club demands. Now, when he says that, Peter, I mean, like we just said, he's opening up to finally admitting that he's not good enough.
Yeah.
But why doesn't he walk? If he's not good enough, the man has to walk, surely.
Exactly. I mean, surely any other manager would know that if they're not good enough, they'll be coming to a point where they say, look, I'm not good enough for this job. This job's too big for me. I think I need to go. But
do you think he actually realizes in his heart of hearts that the job is too big for him, do you think? Or has he just been so stubborn that he truly believes that he's good enough to get Newcastle out of the crap that they're in now?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you can tell he's too stubborn half the time when it comes to his tactics, his team selections. I think he just, as I mentioned, I think he just does want it because he wants a payoff. That's why he doesn't want to walk himself, because if he knows he's not going to get that, he just wants a payoff. Simple as that, which Mike Ashley's hovering over at the moment.
It's just like every single press conference this man does now. He boils my piss, Peter.
Oh,
He really does. I just want to kill him. Not like physically kill him, but you know what I mean? Just like, I don't understand why he has to come out with the same bollocks.
Exactly.
Time after time after time. For me, it's just a big mess.
But it is, yeah.
Lion says, did he actually admit he's not good enough? Why doesn't he walk away now that he's finally realised? Because he won't walk. And he also stipulated that he wouldn't walk, Peter. He said that, it doesn't matter what the result is at Brighton tomorrow. He won't walk. And that just says it all about the man.
Well, yeah, I think now they're just looking to see how the board now going to step in and act, as I mentioned, because we've got the international break.
Mm-hmm.
If he is going to get the sack, there's 2 weeks to go and look for possibly a new manager who's going to get these players motivated, get them a bit of confidence, and get them playing again. Because this manager is certainly not doing that.
Yeah. I mean, do you genuinely believe that, Mike Ashley will be looking at this game tomorrow and thinking, right, if we lose this, I'm pulling the trigger? Hand on heart.
It's possible. I'm 50-50 on it, as I mentioned in my preview.
Yeah.
You can look at that to think if we go down, I'm going to lose a lot of money again, like I did the past 2 times I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
But will I be surprised if he's still here? Nah, that's the thing. Because I think Mike Ashley is just concentrating to try and get a takeover solved now as well, by the looks of it. Yeah, so he's probably looking that more. That is my concern about it.
I think that's exactly what I think. I think it's elsewhere that he's looking at the minute, and he's not paying enough attention to see how much the club is sleepwalking.
True, but Charlie should step in as well.
Where is the man? You know what I mean?
Where is the man? That is the thing.
We don't know where Lee Charnley is. So
no, we don't.
Chipper says, looks like according to John's Twitter, he must be engaged to Joe Linton. It's nothing. It's nothing. Trust me, it's nothing to do with football at all. I think he's got back, from what I can gather, from what John said, he's got back in touch with his son, who he hasn't seen in a very, very long time. And as far as I'm aware, his ex-partner, who lives in Newcastle, is looking to give things another go. So things could be on the up for John. So I'm fingers crossed for him that everything works out for him. And if you are watching, John, then obviously I hope you don't mind me saying that. But obviously, we're all rooting for you, mate, and just hopefully that can turn around for you. That would be absolutely fantastic. So that's what it is, Chip, is you filthy bugger. Right. Kenneth says, in his last job, of course, he wants a payoff. We have to be honest, Paul. No one would walk away from millions of pounds. And Kenneth's right. I mean, Steve Bruce won't walk away. We know this. Steve Bruce has actually stated it himself. And I just feel that just watching him today, on the little trinkets I did on Twitter, when they put the videos on there, he looks gaunt. I don't know how you feel on it, people. I just don't think he looks too well.
I think probably because all the criticism he's been getting it thrown at him from like us fans, possibly pundits, journalists, etc. It's really taken a massive effect, possibly, on his mental health. Yeah, and I'm just thinking, if you're feeling that way, do something about it.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. Kobe says, if I think the players will perform if Fulham win at the weekend.
Well, you hope so.
I actually think the opposite. I think if we go into the bottom 3, and I think we spoke about this many times, Peter, that if we drop into the bottom 3, I think, we could be looking at Newcastle United really, really struggling to get back out of it, because
it's possible.
It's when you drop into that bottom 3 that the pressure really, really grows.
Does. Well, yeah, it does. I mean, and I think us fans are not probably going to be confident we'll get out of it because of the manager.
Yeah.
And you know how many clubs he's relegated in the past in the Premier League as well.
That's the thing, isn't it? That nobody has faith that this manager is going to get us out the shit.
No.
And it's. I mean, I don't know whether you've seen my Twitter the last couple of days. I've took an absolute battering off the Mackhams the last couple of days. Me and Chippers actually as well. It suddenly amazes me how they win the Pineapple Trophy, and then the Pineapple Pizza Trophy, and then they come out from under the rocks. Just because I put a tweet out saying, if Jose got sacked at Tottenham on the same weekend as Steve Bruce, and a couple of pairs of eyes emojis, and all of a sudden the Mackems crawl out from under the rocks and think that, oh, you'll never get Jose, you'll never get Jose. They said we'd never get Rafa, but we got Rafa. And then they come back and say, oh, well, Rafa relegated you. No, he didn't.
No, it was McLaren.
The damage was done before Rafa took us over.
Same with the season when we got relegated in 08-09 season. Joe Kinnear, that was damage done by him.
Yeah, and it was too late for Shearer. It's exactly the same scenario that, they just look with the blinkers on again and just do anything to have a dig at us. I just don't know how they dare. And then they comment and saying, oh, well, our billionaire owner will just buy you up and make you go bankrupt. He's a 23-year-old bloody kid. You know what I mean? Let's just see how that works out before you go boasting about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Crazy. Jake says, Bamford's due a goal or two. We drew against a very good Chelsea side and kept a clean sheet. So I reckon we'll keep your asses out of the fire tonight. You bloody better, is all I've got to say, Jake. Because
I did watch that game as well. I see the highlights, and I thought Leeds really give it a go in that game. I've been impressed.
You're a good side. When they play well, they're a good side.
And there's ambition at that football club as well. You can really tell.
Of course there is. But the problem is, Peter, we know that Leeds United can be very erratic at times.
They can do, yeah.
We don't want the erratic Leeds United turning out against Fulham tonight. Absolutely not. Let's have a look at some of the comments from our manager. We've got these are from Chris Wolf. Steve Bruce pre-Brighton game. In the context of it, for both clubs, it'll be a must-win. It's a big game. Of course, we're aware of that. We're in amongst it with 6 or 7 teams. But it's the accumulation of points. We've gone 3 unbeaten, but we've only picked up 3 points. Peter, I mean, how? 6 or 7 teams are in this relegation battle. Is he absolutely stupid or what?
No. Oh, there's definitely not that many now. I think Burnley are pulling away. Southampton, even though they're on a bit of a rotten one, I think they're going to be fine. Oh, I would like to know what the man takes or possibly drinks. Is he on the pop as well before an interview as well?
I know. I get that feeling. I mean, he's always stuck by this, the 6 or 7 teams around us kind of bollocks.
No.
And there's not. I mean, these other teams are well clear. I think Burnley will pull away. Burnley have got a decent side. They're starting to get a few results. They will pull away. But, for Steve Bruce, he just embarrasses himself.
Oh, he does, yeah.
He went on to say, we all know Brighton have changed dramatically since Chris Hughton set them on the way when the stadium and with the training ground and the stadium, etc. They're very easy on the eye because Graham Potter plays in a certain way. It's all to play for, a big game, and then the great quote, let's hope we win it. I mean, this is getting beyond a joke now, this hope kind of crap. Why can't Steve Bruce come out and say, we're going there to win, and we're going there for 3 points, and fair enough. Say something like we're going to give it our very best shot, but we are going there to win. Instead of saying, let's hope. Because this let's hope kind of just lets him off in a way because, he's just hoping to get a result when he's not even sure himself.
No, I mean, is he just playing to think, oh, we're going to get another draw down there, or we're just going to try and avoid a defeat or a very small defeat? I mean, it gets embarrassing every time. That's why I can't stand the bloke in his press conferences anymore.
Nobody can, and it's all this let's hope business, which I don't get.
That's signs of no positivity. Let's hope.
Of course, it is. Line says, "Quit smoking. This is the 4th day. Wish me luck, lads. Best of luck, mate. I've been there and done that. I do like the old vape from now on, but I've never had a cigarette for about 2 years now, so I'm doing all right. But sometimes when you've got kids and stuff, you're drawn into it through stress. But keep going, Line. It's well worth it, matey. Don't you worry about that. Chipper says, if Bruce gets the chop after tomorrow night, how long before Alex Bruce is back on radio slagging us off again? I would think the same night. To be honest, Chippers, I think if he comes out with... if he does get sacked, I mean, his son will be on the radio. Jim White will certainly have him on a Monday show straight away. He'd probably have the man himself on, Steve Bruce. We know what they're like on Talk Sport. John says Mike Ashley, own fault, should never have appointed him. We know that, but we all know that Mike Ashley also went for the easy option.
He's not. Yeah, well, yeah, it's not because he's a Geordie. Yeah, Steve Bruce, he did it because he's cheap. He was the cheapest option out the lot who we were linked with.
Yeah.
That was
evening, guys. How is everybody? We are well. Thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you very much.
We've also got Bruce on the Sheldon report. Now, this anybody who doesn't know what the Sheldon report is, it's basically about the sexual abuse cases in the football way back when, and how the FA haven't provided any support, etc. Asked if Newcastle are a safe club now, and he says 100% yes. We're all appalled in football, and it's a sadness for me, as it seems to have been during my era. All the protocols that our club in particular are there. We have to protect young children. It's good to see him say that, and it's good to see him say that the club is obviously very aware of what's going on around the country at the minute, and that everybody is safe when they come to our academy. I mean, I would never have believed this went on in football, to be honest. I mean, you wouldn't expect coaches to have that, but it's all out in the open anyway. I'm not going to talk about that too much anyway, because it's not something that I want to give these paedophiles any airtime. So they can all bugger off anyway. Jake says hopefully you'll see Miggy on the bench by the sounds of it. I'm not sure about this one, Peter. I mean, I've got a quote somewhere where he mentions about Miggy, so give us 2 seconds. There. Steve Bruce speaks to the media. We still think the international break is the right time for Callum Wilson. He's well into his rehabilitation, and the same goes for Miguel Almiron. We'll see how he is. Miguel's got a chance for tomorrow. We'll see. I just think he's going to use this position that Newcastle are in at the minute, Peter, and he's going to try and bring players back too early. We know what's happened with them all this season, really, when players have come back too early, especially St. Maximin, who I don't think's ever been fit. But with Miggy, and given it was a knee injury, it's not the easiest injury to come back from. And, if he starts him on the bench, fair enough. I don't think I'd mind him being on the bench and maybe come on for the last 15 minutes when legs are tired. Certainly no more than 15 minutes, given the time he's been out.
Yeah, I mean, I've said in the preview as well, if he's on the bench, okay, fair enough. But if he doesn't make the game, it's understandable. I mentioned, how many times has it happened where we just throw players back in the start lineup and look how massively it backfires completely. And then again, it's another thing, the least thing you want is that injury list to pile up once again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Kendo says there, I can't remember one good game under Bruce, just a couple of incredibly lucky results. Given last week's result, maybe his luck is returning. I mean, I've spoke about this a zillion times on my match previews and reviews and stuff like that, about how lucky Steve Bruce has been. You look back to the Tottenham game, how lucky we were to get that penalty. You look at the way we basically scrambled for points here and there earlier in the season when we were really dire, yet Steve Bruce always believed there was positivity there, like he says every game. I think the last good game I watched Newcastle play was, I think, when the thumped Sheffield United at St James's Park. These are all last season, by the way. And Bournemouth away, when we thumped them away. That was great to watch. But I don't recall many games this season I've sat down and actually enjoyed watching. Yeah, we might have won a couple, but I haven't actually enjoyed it.
Exactly. I mean, Fulham at home, I think we were lucky to get that penalty. I don't think that was a penalty in a million years. That one. Any other games you can think of? God, there's so many that we have just been so lucky. I think Wolves away, I think the performance was dreadful.
Yeah, we were lucky with Murphy's free kick. Yeah,
we scored a cracking free kick. There's so many games we've been lucky to get points out as well. And if it also wasn't for Wilson's goal, we'd be easily in that bottom three, without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Stephen says there are 6 or 7 teams. There aren't 6 or 7 teams in it. There's 3. Does Bruce believe the stuff that comes out of his mouth? I don't think Steve Bruce actually knows what actually comes out of his mouth, to be honest.
No.
I think he's got a thought in his head of what he should say, and then all of a sudden he just goes to shit. And he doesn't actually realise what he's saying. Brian says, let's not forget Sunderland might get promoted, but they think their new owner is Roman Abramovich. The player of 37 years old, they won't be getting out of the championship for a while. They've got a long way to come back. So, they can slag us off all they want. It's a long road back for the Mackhams. Now, yes, there is a possibility if we go down, we may play them next season. I think that derby is far too big for the Championship. Should never be in the Championship.
No.
But that might just be where the two teams find themselves next season. But we'll certainly know that over the next couple of weeks. John says Fulham, Brighton, and Newcastle. So if we lose tomorrow and Fulham, I take it he means win. Thomas says looking forward to something going down on me this year. That I think. Well, Thomas, I hope you managed to succeed in that goal, buddy. Truth tells us hope and look up front for Bruce. That's all he knows, really. Paul says, Thomas, let me know her name. There'll probably be a big queue by the sound of things. Right, on to another quote from Steve Bruce. This is on Jacob Murphy, Peter. He says, I thought he was very, very bright when he came on against Villa. We like Jacob. He trains well every day and gives us a different option with his pace and directness. He had an impact last week, which is what we're looking for. Right, so if you're looking for him, play him.
Exactly. Start him tomorrow.
Do you think he will? Do you think he'll drop Joe Linton?
It's a hard one. But Jacob Murphy, he's got to start. If you can tell how much he changed that game when he came off the bench. He had that chance, which he hit the bar. He sets up the equaliser for Lascelles. Play him.
I just think he's been unlucky all season, Peter, because whenever we've needed Jacob Murphy, he's been there for us and he's performed. And that's the thing. He got the goal against Wolves, which you've just spoken about. He put a beautiful ball in for that goal that Dwight Gale scored at St James's Park.
Yep.
The man can cross a ball. There is no debate in that. And I think, Jacob Murphy going out on loan to Sheffield Wednesday, etc., has massively helped him because he has improved. I don't believe Steve Bruce has improved him at all. No. I believe it was his loan spell. But, we look at somebody like Jacob Murphy who has the ability to put the crosses in. And, Steve Bruce, he spoke about this before, though. He spoke about Elliot Anderson like this, and then suddenly he wasn't even in the squad. But it's all got to do with whether he's going to drop Joe Linton or not. And I just don't think he's going to. I mean, on both our preview videos for the game, we've picked exactly the same team.
I think we should go with it.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. If you haven't seen those videos, please go and watch them on both channels, on mine and Peter's. We've both done previews for the game. But if the team we've gone for is Dubravka. We've gone Manquillo right back. We've gone Dummett left back. Clark and Lascelles again in the central defenders positions. We've gone in front of them, Isaac Hayden and Joe Willock. I think Isaac Hayden can sit in front of the back four and break any play up. Joe Willock, we know, is a box-to-box midfielder. He will do a lot of running. We've also gone for, on the right-hand side, we've gone Jacob Murphy. Left-hand side, Ryan Fraser. Through the middle in the number 10 role, we've both gone for Sean Longstaff because we both feel it's about time that he came back into the side. Let bygones be bygones, Steve Bruce, and think of the team rather than your own pride. Just go out and say to Sean, I know we haven't seen eye to eye. This is your big opportunity and go for it. And then we've got Andy Carroll up front. Now, for me, I agree with you, Peter. I think that is a team that could do some damage, could actually go and perform. And, with the two wingers we've got in that side and Andy Carroll in the middle, put them balls in that were coming in against Aston Villa, and you've got a guarantee that Andy Carroll will get on the end of them. We've also got Sean Longstaff there. And then even if Sean Longstaff and Andy Carroll try and win the headers, Joe Willock's busting a good being the box-to-box midfielder to pick up on any little balls that might drop down and bang them in the back of the net. For me, he's got to go for that. It's about time that we've got to try and go for 3 points.
Exactly. I mean, and I mentioned the 4-2-3-1 formation, we should be looking to go for it. As well. If you know something's not working, you've got to look for another option to see if that improves. Just going out with the same formation, all right, it is more attacking, but the last two games, West Brom and Villa, they lacked a lot of quality. West Brom was a ball fest, and the Villa game, there was not a lot of clear-cut chances in the game.
The thing is, Peter, right? I don't think the 4-3-3, the players that we have available now, is as effective as the 4-2-3-1 would be with the players we have available. I think because of the injuries and the players that we have available for this game, I truly believe that the 4-2-3-1 is a better option for attacking.
It is. Got the players to do it.
Obviously, we do need to watch set pieces because we've switched off at set pieces so many times this season. Brighton have some huge defenders. Burnett left back, I believe he's going to be fit for the game. I know there was an injury now, but I believe he'll play. Lewis Dunk is fantastic in the air. I really like Lewis Dunk as a central defender. I would love him at Newcastle. I think he's a fantastic player. So they've got some players that can hurt us. Kenneth says if Brighton play like they did against Southampton and we play like we normally do, then we will get beat. It's as simple as that. Did you watch them against Southampton, Pete?
Yes, I did. And Brighton did absolutely very well in that game. The way they took their chances, the way they were looking to pick passes out, get balls in the box. Yeah. The first one, Lewis still got the header of it, and the way forgot who made the pass, found Trossard, and the way he just slot that away.
Yeah, it's going to be tight. It's going to be a tight game. But I think if we concede early, we may capitulate again, and that's the
thing. That is the worry.
Guys, if you do want to, super chats are available on the channel. So do. If you feel like donating, then hit that dollar sign at the bottom of the comments. 80% of those raised will go to Parkinson's UK, 20% to the channel. So if you're feeling generous, I know it's Comic Relief Day and all that stuff. So if you're feeling generous, the super chat button is there. Let's have a look at some of the comments from Mr. Bruce himself. Obviously, we've seen that one on Murphy. This one was on Fabian Schär. He's still recovering. He had an operation on his knee, and he's 5 or 6 weeks in. He's progressing nicely, and everything is in place, but it's still too early for him. I'll be very surprised, Peter, if we see Schär back this season.
Yeah, I think if he is going to come back, he could be looking with the last 2, 3, possibly 4 games if you're lucky. Yeah, I mean, that looked like a serious injury he picked up against Southampton.
Yeah.
It really, really did.
We'll see. Lion says you were on about Mourinho earlier. I wouldn't want him at our club. He's achieved a lot, but I still wouldn't want him. I'm not 100% sold on Mourinho ever becoming Newcastle manager, but I keep looking back to this Bobby Robson thing, Peter, and I keep saying, the relationship with Bobby and the spirit of Bobby lives in Jose, and it's like he's got a passion for Newcastle United already, deep down, and maybe just as his last swan song really for Mourinho, he might just decide, right, I want one more job. I'm going to take Newcastle United on and see where I can get them. The problem is Mike Ashley, obviously, but Mourinho will want money to spend.
That is the thing. I think he'll be asking for a hefty transfer budget, possibly between 100 to 200 million, which he definitely not get at all. But he could take it. I mean, what I will say is don't rule it out completely.
No, it's never off the cards with Jose. I mean, even he said that himself. Alex said, I'd rather have him than Steve Bruce, though, easily. I'd rather Paul or Peter manage us at this point. I think we'd do a damn better job because we wouldn't be afraid to kick some ass in that dressing room, quite frankly. Jake says, say what you want about Jose, but he'd put a bit of ruthlessness into Newcastle squad, and I think he needs a job with lower expectations where the players feel lucky to play for him. That's not a bad point, actually, from Jake. Every club that Mourinho's been at, it's always massive expectation on him, isn't it? It's huge expectation to win trophies. Now, with Newcastle United, it would be more of a building thing than it would be trophies, which I think, later on in Jose's career, he might appreciate more than having to, struggle to try and win trophies. And you never know, if the pressure's off, he could take Newcastle to places that they haven't been in a very long time.
It's possible, but we've got to wait and see.
Yeah, Stephen says Murphy and Carroll have to start for me. Carroll is garbage. I don't necessarily agree with that, but and then Jake comes back with Jupiter. Garbage is a step up from Joe Linton. So yeah, that's a good point, Jake. So yeah, there you go. Stephen, good evening to you, my man. I love my tune and live in Reading. So how are the lads? Yeah. How are the lads? Definitely. Alex says, Murphy reminds me a bit of Ross Barkley at Chelsea. He would always make an impact coming off from the bench, but never started games. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think that, if we look at somebody like Ross Barkley, I mean, I'd love to have a Ross Barkley in the middle of the park for us.
Oh, I think, yeah, you would.
Just to be able to set set the players up, and really he would carry us forward. I think he would be a perfect replacement for John Joe Shelby, to be honest. But again, it's all about this. Would they come to Newcastle? And we have to have a different manager and a different direction before we attract any more big players, Peter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think we're just going with these championship best half of the time.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. As I said, Shelby's legs, to me, oh God, he's not the same player. I think Hayden is getting better. Willock's still a lot to learn. What's going to happen with the Longstaffs now? And Jeff Hendrick is just absolutely goddamn awful.
I hope Hendrick is nowhere near the Newcastle United side for the rest of the season, to be honest.
Oh, God.
Good evening, Bella. Hope you're well out there in Germany. Speak to you soon. Keep smiling. Kendo says, do you reckon Mrs. Marple Cabbage Man will swallow his pride and chips and put the Longstaff Moore brothers back in the squad for the benefit of the team?
You're hoping he will.
Yeah, it's a big question.
He's got to say to them, right, let's put this debate on one side. Some of the other players have not been up to standard. I'll put you in and see what you can do for me.
Yeah,
this time. Why? You should just go for it again.
But is that not all about man management, Pete? That's what we spoke about a million times before, is man management. And, you know, for Steve Bruce to go out and say, right, lads, you know, we've had our differences. I want to put them under, you know, a stick a pin in them, if you like, for now. You know, we'll sort them out at the end of the season. What's more important than our relationship is Newcastle United and keeping Newcastle United in the Premier League. And, you know, like we were saying before, both of our preview videos, you know, tell Sean to go out and enjoy the number 10 role, because I truly believe that Sean Longstaff can play that number 10 role and play it very well. And he can score goals. We know he can score goals because we've seen him on loan at the Blackpool, etc. And he scored some crackers in that number 10 role. So it's a position he knows. It's a position he can play. So why not utilize that? You know, leave Joe Linton out, put two wingers who are going to put balls into the box, and a Sean Longstaff who's got a thunderbolt shot from the edge of the box. We have more chances of scoring, surely.
Exactly. I mean, you go back to Joe Linton, who is just feel like, I mean, that Villa game, he was frightened to go for goal.
Yeah.
Sean Longstaff would definitely would want to put his foot through that.
Yeah, I mean, that's been... I mean, you know, I said Joe Linton played well last week, and I think he did. And I think he would have got higher marks had he actually scored a goal. But he does all the hard work, and then he gets to the easy bits.
And then he feel like he panics then.
Yeah, he does, though. You can see it in his face. You can see it on the replays. You know, he gets the ball in the box, and he panics. He wants to give it to someone rather than hit. I think he's frightened because he's frightened that he misses the target, or he gets more hate on social media, whatever that may be. But for me, I'd have more respect for Joe Linton if he pulled the trigger. Fair enough if he misses, you know.
Okay, at least he's had a chance.
Yeah, exactly. Like Jacob Murphy. You know, Jacob Murphy, you know, everybody says he should have scored last week when he curled it off the bar. I thought it was a fantastic effort, to be honest, and I thought he was unlucky. But Jacob Murphy's the type of player that will have a shot and it will go, you know, 30 yards over the bar or whatever it be. Well, 5 minutes later, you'll be in the same position and he'll still pull the trigger. He'll still have a go. And, you know, for Jacob Murphy, we know he can shoot well. We know he can put balls on target. So we've also got that firepower of Fraser and Murphy cutting in from the wings. We know Murphy can use his left foot. We know Fraser can use his right foot. They're two-footed players.
Exactly.
Let's take advantage of that and actually provide Andy Carroll with some chances to score.
Absolutely, yes.
Kobe says we need to speak about Paul Dummett and how well he has been. You know, I've been absolutely over the moon with Paul Dummett. For me, Peter, I just think his performances, you know, he's the kind of committed player that we need right now. You know, he is a Newcastle fan through and through. He will not want to see the club relegated again. Not a chance in hell.
Definitely not.
You can tell. And I mean, I've been very critical of Dummett for not getting forward and putting crosses in. But those two crosses, two in particular, he made against Villa, just were absolutely crying out for a big centre forward just to get on the end of it. One of the crosses reminded me of the FA Cup game against Chelsea, where Clivett, you know, it was curled round beautifully and Clivett nodded home. If you can remember that one, Peter.
Yeah, against
when we beat them in the cup. And
yes, I was there.
Yeah. One of those crosses just reminded me of that. And I just thought, you know what? It just needs an Andy Carroll, Alan Shearer type player who is not afraid to go for that ball because Dwight Gale is too powder puff. He's not what we need. But it was just Dummett's been fantastic, hasn't he?
I have been impressed with Dummett since he's come back. You can certainly he's been using his defensive strategy until me, and he absolutely took a Traore out the game last week, which is not malicious. He was just trying to use his strength to say, "Well, you're not getting past me. No way of this rate." And the crosses he was putting in, as you mentioned.
That's what we need. That's what we need from Dummett, you know, and that's what we don't get at the minute from Jamal Lewis. He's not. That's the thing. He's not strong enough at the minute, and I think he can learn. He can learn from Dummett, can't he?
You can. That's the thing. Lewis can learn off Dummett easily.
But the problem is Lewis hasn't been coached very well, has he, this season?
No, he hasn't. That is the problem. But I think Jamal Lewis, he's still got a lot to learn.
I'll be astounded if he drops Paul Dummett tomorrow. I'll be astounded.
I will be. Because Dummett, there's nowhere deserves to be dropped at this moment in time. I actually don't think the two centre-backs should be dropped as well.
No, I agree. I agree.
I think they've been pretty solid as well. I know we'd like to see Fernandes back in, but I mentioned Fernandes at the minute is going to have to fight for his place because Lascelles and Clark have not put a foot wrong as well. The only place we need to change in the defence is the right-back.
Yeah, Manquillo has to come in. He simply has to. And I think, you know, Graham Potter is a very astute manager, and he will target our right back position if Kraft is in the team. There is no doubt in my mind. Richard says Bruce's hemorrhoids are doing some damage. Oh my god! Jake says Steve Bruce with his face like a crate of rotten memories. That's a good. Layla, good evening. Who's watching Fulham tonight? I think all Newcastle fans will be glued to it. Is it 8 o'clock kickoff?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. It'll be a very, very, very tense game for Newcastle fans. I can guarantee you that. Good evening, Dave. Hope you're well, my friend. Thomas, nice, Jake. Long as Ashley's in charge, NUFC will either struggle or be mid-tabled at best, no matter what managers come in, test and proved. Well, we know that. We know that there's got to be a takeover for anything to change at Newcastle United.
That's the thing.
And it's a real shame, but that's the situation we're in. Bruce's face looks like a badly packed kebab crossed with blobfish. Jesus, chippers. Ashley is about as good as an idiot in World War, or
could be something like that.
Weight Watchers. Well, in World War, I presume that means 2 in no man's land on top of a stepladder, smoking endless cigarettes, wearing a high-vis balaclava. We got there in the end. Tony Pulis got to flatten the bike a wall. Jesus, don't mention Pulis. Good evening, Lee. Hope you're well, buddy. Brian says, what is the worst stadium you've been to? Mine is the new West Ham ground. Boundary Park, Oldham's the worst I've been to. That place is like a fridge, and it is an awful ground with an awful pitch. It's just horrible.
It's a hard one for me.
There's a lot of people criticise the London Stadium, hasn't there? That there's not really a.
I didn't mind going to it. The only criticism you give it is that you're kind of too far away from the pitch.
Aye, I don't like them grounds with a running track. I think it's.
I would say when I've been at Everton's ground, Goodison Park, I didn't think the seats. I thought the seats were like
that's horrible. You've got the pillars there as well, stopping your view, especially in the weekend.
I think it was like sitting on a park bench half the time.
That's awful. I think they desperately need new ground. Chipper says, I personally think Longstaff has not looked fit since Rafa's left, although let's be honest, who has? Exactly. Archer, good evening, lads. It's a win or bust for Mrs. Sissy tomorrow.
It can't about that big, lads.
Murphy's got to play tomorrow. Give the kid a chance, and Matty. Well, time will tell, Archer. Sean says Bruce will stick with his 4-4-2 diamond. I bloody hope not. Praying Leeds do us a favour tonight. Martin says his idea of man management is a fallout and hold a grudge and not play them Longstaffs and Richie. Exactly. He loves a good old. He loves a grudge, doesn't he? Unfortunately. Jake says Joe Linton is not a striker, simple as he's got the instincts and natural abilities of a ball-carrying defensive midfielder. He doesn't have the hunger for goals to be a number 9. A lot of people have said actually he's more suited to a defensive position. Maybe he's right. You know, maybe he's in the long term. We'll see Joe Linton moving back a bit. Let's have a look at another Bruce quote from the Aston Villa draw. The players deserved it for their attitude to keep going. They could have been on the floor with the hideous goal we conceded, which was sheer bad luck, and we didn't deserve that. We had 7 players in the box to try and salvage something. Now, I want to pick up on that last bit. We had 7 players in the box to try and salvage something. We are talking about salvaging a draw from Aston Villa at home, Peter.
These are the games we should be winning, man. I mean, Aston Villa, okay, they'll be distant this season, but it's a game you would look and to say that one we should be winning 3 points. And that game, just to me, just lacked a lot of quality in that game. It was slow at times. It's sideways, backwards passing. I mean, again, it could have been another ball fest game. I must say, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Nate comes on and says, let's be positive, lads. Brighton have won just once at home in 14 attempts so far this season. A 1-0 success against Spurs in January. We can win this. Yeah, we can. We definitely can. But we also said that about Sheffield United, Nate. And unfortunately, we know how that turned out.
Picked apart in that game, even though it was 1-0, but still.
Yeah, I understand. And yes, you're right, Nate. We have to be positive. And, I'm trying to be as positive as I can. I really am. But there's not many, that bright light shining at the bottom of this very dark tunnel we're in is like a little needle dot at the minute. It's a long way. Richard said Joe Linton's stats: 60 appearances with 3 goals and 4 assists for a £40 million player. My God, that is scary. That really is scary. That when you actually sit down and you look at the stats, it's Kraft hasn't travelled apparently, so that's good news. Tony says it wouldn't surprise me at all if he drops Dummett tomorrow because Bruce is an effing idiot. Yeah. John, good evening, mate. Hope you're well. Hi, chaps. Joe Linton is not a footballer. He's not fit to play in the Sunday League. He would not get an hour 5-a-side team at the end of the season. Just get rid, pay him off. Well, they're certainly not going to get the money from that they paid for him.
No, there's no way he'll get the 40 million back.
I still can't believe who did that deal.
I can't believe it.
Mrs. Doubtfire is better looking than Steve Bruce. Yeah, I've seen some resemblances. Just seen Charnley come out of Pulis's flat. Richard, I think you've been smoking something, mate. A2 felt like a change in Bruce's demeanour today. I think he knows he's gone if we don't win. It's too late, but at least he'd be gone. I have to say, I agree with that, Peter. His persona today wasn't as cocky and arrogant, if you like, as it normally has been. He actually looks like a worried man.
Yeah, it does look like it now. Well, as I mentioned, do something about it then. If you think the job's too big, just say it to them. It's just too big for me. This is not doing my mental health any good. Yeah. I think it's time I called it.
Yeah, definitely. But he won't. Tony says the worst ground for him was the old Den at Millwall. Bloody horrible all around.
No, well, I heard Millwall fans, they're a bunch of thugs anyway, from what I've heard.
Well, you'll have them hunting for you if they watch this, Peter.
Oh, God. Well, I think a lot of other fans will be saying the same as well. I mean, I've seen what they've done to other fans, and you're thinking, hey, my word.
Kendo says surprised he didn't nominate Sunderland Stadium as the worst. As much as I hate them, Kendo, it's definitely not the worst stadium going. No, just because we hate them, it doesn't mean that they've got a crap ground.
I've actually been to the stadium, but it's not for a football match. Actually,
you went for a concert, did you?
Yeah, I've been twice. Springsteen and Bon Jovi.
Oh, that's all right then. I thought you were going to say Dancing on Ice or something like that.
Oh no,
Jesus. We would have had words, Peter. Mind you, you're talking to a man who went to see Steps at the arena. I got dragged into that. Dave says, I have some very fond memories of the London Stadium from 2012. Yeah, obviously the Olympics will always live in people's hearts without a shadow of a doubt. We've got another, I think I've got another couple of two more from Steve Bruce, actually. We still think we've seen that one. Last one. So Mark Douglas basically put this out. Well, here's Steve Bruce on the relegation battle. He still claims the 6 or 7 clubs are in the battle. Says NUFC out of their bad run. Things have picked up. And only Man United and Chelsea have beaten us over the last 8 games. He forgot about Crystal Palace. So, again, the man is deluded. He can't even remember which teams he's beaten and which teams he hasn't.
How can he say out of a bad run when we've been getting scraping draws?
Yeah.
I mean, the West Brom game, my God, that was awful.
We've been in a bad run all season, man.
Well, we have, yeah.
he obviously sees a different football match to what we see, you know, from the TV cameras. You know, obviously on the touchline, it must be a different football match. He's one of these guys that will be driving down the road and then he'll come past you on the other side of the road with his lights and wipers on, and you think, oh, it must be raining and dark on that side of the road. You know, he's probably one of them people. Alan says 3-1 to us. Joe Linton hat-trick. Well, you know, Steve Bruce says he's improving. I just don't get this. Steve Bruce says Joe Linton's improving business as well, because, you know, away, man, we paid 40 million quid for the kid. He shouldn't really take this long to improve.
No, definitely not.
Chipper says, wonder if when Bruce is alone, he dresses up like Mrs. Doubtfire with his big knockers. I'm not even going to reply to that, Chippers. I think you need help, man. I really do. Chippers, he doesn't need to dress up. That's a good point. Brian says, when COVID is over, looking forward to a cold pint in the Strawberry. I think everybody is, mate, to be honest. I think they're just fed up. They want to get back and want to let the feelings know to the club. Chipper says, to think John said Joe Linton was a good finisher. Yeah, I think you'll regret that for a long time as well. He came out with that on the Four Horsemen show on Monday, and I'm not sure where he got a good finisher from, because he only scored 8 times for Hoffenheim as well. So.
Exactly.
Oh dear. Thomas says, wish Duncan Ferguson was still playing. Oh, can you imagine him up front tomorrow?
Oh God, I just remember.
Well, can you imagine Duncan Ferguson being up front against Villa and all? He would have put some chances away, I tell you.
He would. Yeah, I remember him back in the days. He was certainly a big lad at 4.
Jay says Kraft hasn't travelled because his flight to Sweden is early on Sunday. So for once, COVID benefits us. Archie says, Peter, Google the fat bastard from Austin Powers, the new Steve Bruce lookalike. Yes, we can remember what he looked like.
Yeah.
Wonder if Steve Bruce has been told behind the scenes he's got the Brighton game to save his job. I don't think he'll have to be told. I think I genuinely believe if the man has anything about him, he'll understand how big this game is.
Yeah.
The thing is, Peter, he hasn't come out and said this is not a must-win game. He's mentioned there in his comments that that both teams will be seeing it as a must-win game. And really, in our heart of hearts, Steve Bruce will be in his hotel tonight thinking this really is a must-win game.
But he's got to think that away, man. We're in a massive relegation battle. Another thing, he's only just come out with not too long ago saying we only realised we're in a relegation battle. We'll be nearly in a relegation battle nearly all throughout the whole bloody season, pretty much.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, he contradicts himself constantly. Tony says, I think someone has had a word in Bruce's ear, to be honest. It did look like someone who had been told a few home truths. You know,
yeah.
Like I say, I think he'll just know. He has to just know. John says, PD, you jammy sod, Bruce Springsteen, wow.
Oh, yeah. that was a cracking gig, that, like.
Yeah, I can imagine. You know, he was probably one of the guys that I've always wanted to see, to be honest. Tony says, if we beat Fulham tonight, Bruce will be delighted. He can play a back 7 against Brighton. That's the thing. I mean, if Fulham do get beat tonight, right, he could go with a back 5 tomorrow. I wouldn't put it past him.
Oh, God. I hope not. I mean, if you can't with the back 5, we may as well ask him to lose the game anyway, because that 5 at the back, my God, you can tell how badly it's gone this season.
Yeah. Chipper says, PD, don't lie, you went and saw the Spice Girls and the ASMR special with John and Joe Linton live. Oh, God. Beat says, dreading his team selection tomorrow. I have a feeling he's going to pick Hendrick.
Oh, God.
It's always that thing, though, Peter, before, you know, an hour before kickoff, 7 o'clock tomorrow night, we've got to wait for that team. So we've got all day to wait. I hate these Saturday kickoff at 8 o'clock. I really do. I'd rather them just kick off at 3 or 5:30, to be honest. Yeah. Nevertheless, it is what it is. But come 7 o'clock, we kind of know if he's going out to win the game or he's going for a point. We'll know by the team selection.
Yeah, exactly. If he's going with Hendrick, Shelby to a degree now, because I think the bloke's finished. Kraft, Joe Linton, you can tell he's not playing out to win it. No chance. So,
I mean, we've gone for our teams that we think will do a job tomorrow. And I firmly believe that 4-2-3-1 is the way forward. But, is he going to do that? or is he going to play safe and he's going to put his players in, i.e. Hendrick, Joe Linton, possibly, move Dummett into central defence, put Jamal Lewis left wing back, go 5 at the back. Is he going to be that worried about the game and losing it that he just goes all out defence?
Oh, God. If we go out all out defence, as I mentioned, there'll be no chance of us winning. No, absolutely no chance.
I'm scared for tomorrow. I really am, if I'm honest. Tony says Springsteen and Bon Jovi. I think you mean Spice Girls and Michael Bublé.
Oh, God.
Richard says Charlie's Jag has been wrecked outside Pulis's one-bedroom flat. Richard, I don't know what you're on tonight. Beat says Bruce didn't seem his normal arrogant self during his press conference. Yeah, we said that. There was just something about his body language that wasn't right, and I don't know whether he's been told he's getting sacked regardless. I mean, that could be another case. Even if we win tomorrow,
Mike, I'm not worried.
Yeah, I have said for a while that I believe that Mike Ashley was waiting for this international break to pull the trigger.
Possibly.
I love Peter's channel. Well, that's very nice of you, Leila. Good,
very much.
Good lass. Thomas, as Bruce said, we have 10 games left. Like, that was a positive thing. Surely 0 games left would improve his and Newcastle's position. Everything he says is enough to make a cat laugh. Well, he's always said he just the man just is in denial. There is no doubt about it. He is in denial, and he always has been all season about the way we play.
Well, he has been.
Tony says, saw Springsteen at St James's Park in '85. Awesome 3 to 4 hour set. Wow, that's a long set.
That's how long it went when I went to see him as well. You took rather long 3 hours.
Yeah, I went to see Brian Adams at Huddersfield once, and he was on for about 3 to 4 hours. Amazing. Chipper says he starts Joe Linton and Hendrick. There is no intent to win. No. He's right. And
he is.
At 7:00 tomorrow, Peter, we are going to have to see a team on that team sheet that is going to win the game. Like we've just spoke about there, when we see that team sheet and see what's written on it, see what players are on it, we will know if he wants 1 or 3 points. But I genuinely think if he goes for 1 point, right, we will lose the game because Brighton are a fantastic footballing side.
They are.
For me, if they'd had a 20-goal scoring machine this season, they would be much further up the table simply because of the chances they create and the football they play. So
exactly.
If we go just to sit back and defend, Pete, they're going to pass around us.
Yeah, they will do. Easily.
Jake says, if you beat Brighton and Bruce gets sacked, it would be the best day for Newcastle since Rafa took you back up. Damn right it would. Bede says, the team I would like to see is Dubravka, Dummett, Clark Lascelles or Fernandez, Manquillo, Matty Longstaff, Hayden, Fraser, Murphy, Willock and Carroll. So there is, I'm trying to see, there's no Sean Longstaff in there. So basically he's playing Murphy in the, Willock in the number 10 role with Matty and Hayden sitting back. I wouldn't be too fussed with that, to be honest.
No, I wouldn't as well. I think Willock, he has played up there for Arsenal before.
Yeah.
It would be great to see Matty Longstaff in there as well.
I can't see it, though. Not after Bruce's comments about Matty. Saying he's got to work his way back into the team. I don't know how he dare come out with that, actually, after throwing him in at the deep end so many times this season and then shitting on him throughout the season. Martin says, Brighton played us off the park up here. I don't think we've improved since. I'm worried. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Brighton did play us off the park and we haven't improved one bit. I was really surprised that the run Brighton went on after that game because they just went down the Premier League.
Yeah, did I?
But they have got injuries as well. Lamptey's a massive blow. He ran riot. Can you lads honestly see Ashley giving Steve Bruce a sack? It's going to cost too much money. Peter?
It shouldn't be about money though. But what would you risk? Sacking someone, paying them off, where it might not cost an awful fortune, or run the risk of getting relegated and losing an absolute shitload of money.
Yeah,
you could be talking over 100 million, possibly.
Definitely.
Unless the parachute payments save a bit, but I think I know what I'd be choosing.
Definitely. Richard says fans could pick a winning team from the players available. Bruce holds a grudge, and good players are made to watch shite. Yeah, I know. But Bruce's formation is a Christmas pudding. Yeah. Definitely. Right. We're going to end the show there, guys, because obviously, we know that Fulham and Leeds are kicking off in a couple of minutes' time, and I think a lot of Newcastle fans will want to watch that game rather than watch us two mumbling on about Steve Bruce all night. So it's been a good show. Thank you again for coming on, Peter.
No problem at all.
Start doing more of these press conferences, so hopefully you'll join me on them. But I'll catch you on Monday night, mate, for the Four Horsemen.
Looking forward to that as always. Cheers, mate.
Thanks for coming on, buddy.
No problem. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. So that was PD Proudlock there, and obviously he'll be back with me on Monday night show, The Four Horsemen. Thank you very much for all your comments in the live chat tonight. It's been a blast again. Very interesting getting to know what you think of Steve Bruce's press conferences. I may start doing these now quite regularly, the press conference reactions, because it's great to have your dialogue as well and find out what's going on. I'll be back after the game tomorrow night at around 10 o'clock with the match reaction live. So do join me for that. I want all your comments in the live comments there, talking about the game. What do you think about the formation, the performance, where we stand? If we lose, is that the end of Steve Bruce? Could Steve Bruce actually be sacked straight after the game while I'm doing the show? That would be fantastic. It's just one of them things. It's a massive, massive game for Newcastle United, and one that we simply have to win. But it all depends on how Bruce picks the team, the formation, and how he tells the team to go out and play. Because if we sit back, Brighton will play around us. So I guarantee it. But thank you very much, everybody, for joining the show tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure again. If you haven't already, do hit the like button, please. And if you're new to the channel, you've enjoyed what you've watched, lots more live streams like this on the show, as well as recorded programs as well. So do consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I will catch you at 10 o'clock tomorrow night for the match reaction live. In the meantime, take care, everybody. Good night. Be strong.